at the moment. And Dom, with all my guests, can you give us a 3-minute elevator pitch on what you're all about?
Yeah, man. So I'm Dominic, as you say, and I run a company called Vlogify. So we help people, specifically kind of freelancers, entrepreneurs, digital savvy business folk. We help them use content to make more money. So
Wow.
not just creating, not just creating content, because there's loads of evangelists, there's loads of digital folk go, just make content. And, if you're going out and just making content, all you're going to do is just make content.
Yeah.
But making content is fun, making content is interesting, but at the end of the day, for you as a business to be able to give that time for making content, it has to give you some kind of return, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so we are developing systems for creating content efficiently, creating good quality content efficiently, and also we've got systems in place which we can teach to others and we can implement to others about how you actually use that content to drive people through a sales funnel. Because at the end of the day, content sales is exactly the same as in-person sales. There is a funnel, a beginning, middle, and end. That you have to create a desire, an interest. You have to then get people to then go and buy it. So we create content which flows through that line. We have a 5-day challenge which runs every month, which we invite everyone on. It's free. It's free to come on, and people can learn the first steps, the basics of creating content, which is filming and writing and what have you. I started off at the BBC, which is a national broadcaster here in Scotland, and I've worked for many other broadcasters, which has really given me a grounding in how to create quality content with very, very sharp turnarounds. So I specialize in sport. I do a lot of FA Cup, Premier League football, and obviously that stuff's live and with a really, really quick turnaround. So it's really kind of given me a real idea of how you work with excellent freelancers and how you turn content around super quickly, if not live. And also has given me the skills to manage content, because this is what happens. People create so much content and then it all goes missing in different drives and what have you. So that's what I've brought into my business. I've trained my freelancers to work like this, and we train our clients to do the same as well, because good kind of content strategies involve good processes. Like anything, if you want to make money at all, you need good processes, and you need sustainable processes, repeatable processes, and trackable processes.
Absolutely. And I should imagine with all these lockdowns happening around at that moment, there's probably a huge demand for content.
Yeah, man. So there was always this thing, especially with kind of old school kind of folk and people who maybe are working in more conservative arenas, or people who just like in-person networking. There are people who have built their lives around going to in-person networking and what have you, and they were always like, well, I just don't see the point in creating content because I can just go to a networking event. And this kind of whole pandemic has just shown to people that even if you love going to networking events, even if you love kind of knocking on doors and what have you, you need, as a business, some kind of online, some kind of hands-off approach, because pandemics may well happen again. There can be storms that happen which stop people from traveling. There's so many reasons now. We live in a globally connected world, but that means that pandemics can spread, terrorism can spread. So we all need reasons and ways of having a back end which works even when the normal world doesn't. And content strategy is a great way of engaging, keeping people engaged, but also it's a great way of saving your own time. When I first started in business, I used to go to in-person networking events. I used to have in-person one-to-ones with everyone who would agree to have a one-to-one with me. The problem is I was wasting hours and hours and hours every month on people who either didn't want to know or didn't care. And so I now use my content to filter out the people who don't care or don't understand, or it isn't right for them. And so the people I'm having my digital one-to-ones with, and my team do exactly the same thing. When we have digital one-to-ones, there are people who understand what we're doing, have at least an interest or a desire in what we are doing, and are in a much better position to say, right, we're interested or not, rather than just meeting people cold all the time.
Yeah, right. And what you're finding at the moment is people asking, content-wise, people are asking for more help with.
So kind of lots of people are going from the start. It's the basics of how they are filming videos. I mean, for some companies, the best results will come by hiring freelancers or hiring an agency to create videos for you, and creating more evergreen videos, which you can use again and again on social media and use again and again on your website. I definitely, if people can afford that, that's what I push the bigger clients through. But obviously there are businesses, entrepreneurs, startups specifically, who just don't have the quantity of cash that you need to, to hire a freelancer or to hire an agency. And so, I've got a 5-day challenge, as I said at the start, which every month we teach the basics of vlogging. So vlogging and video are a little bit different. So video encompasses vlogging, but vlogging is a smaller section. So vlogging is kind of casual, homemade videos, authentic videos, which you are putting out on social media, potentially using social media ads, potentially using in YouTube channels, but they are homemade and they are definitely behind the scenes style videos. But the beauty of that is you can shoot them, edit them, and distribute them from the smartphone, which means you can make them very, very easily, very, very regularly. And most business people will, and even startups will have some kind of HD smartphone with some kind of basic editing. Either it's iMovie on the iPhone, or it is Quick on the Android, Quick from GoPro, and they will be able to create and distribute from the one device, 2, 3, 4 times a day. So vlogging is extremely regular and extremely authentic. Vlogs on social media actually work better when they look less like adverts. And so that's kind of what, especially the startups, especially the entrepreneurs, especially the people who are new to using video as a strategy, I say that is the go-to start, because there's no barrier to entry. It is so quick to get going and you can pick up the skills really quickly. Once you start kind of funneling people through your sales funnel with your vlogging, you can then start looking at more evergreen content and investing in bigger videos which maybe last longer, because your vlogs are disposable content, I call it. So it's content that goes out. If it's a good one, you maybe put it out a week or a month later, but realistically it's disposable content. It's there and it's gone, and we do something new tomorrow.
Yeah, I suppose you also can recycle the vlog too, so you can probably convert it into a podcast, convert it into a blog, and that sort of thing.
You
so
can
yeah,
do a transcribing of it. You can kind of do a best of all of them and stick them all together as a YouTube video. You can then take the audio of that, turn it into a podcast. So there's so many different homes where this content can go to, and the beauty of putting it out regularly is you can then get a real feel for what people are enjoying and engaging with. So if people start getting back to you with questions, if people start liking and sharing, but specifically if people are commenting, it's showing that you are making something that people are interested in. And so you can then go, right, people are interested in that, let's answer some of those questions with more vlogs. And it's a great way of answering your customers' questions and getting in contact with the customers and getting them to contact you, which is the real key to it all.
Yes, absolutely. And so how did this all started? How this all came about, Dom?
Yeah, so I was working. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I was working for a broadcaster. I worked for a broadcaster on a freelance basis for around about 10 years. I then had a child on the way, and Brexit happened. I don't know if you're aware of Brexit, but it is a massive issue, especially considering Scotland, where I live, didn't actually vote for it. But the broadcaster which I worked for makes a lot of money selling internationally and a lot of money selling to Europe. And, the price of the pound dipping caused massive problems in my industry. And basically the broadcaster I worked for cut loads and loads of positions, and mine was one of the positions that cut, and I was really easy to cut because I was freelance at the time. So I was like, right, okay, I've got no income coming in and I've got a child on the way. So what can I do? I have these skills. I have my 10, 15 years worth of broadcast experience. What can I do? So I said, right, I can film. I know how to film. I've got some equipment. So I set up a studio in the center of town. And it was it actually went really well. We got lots of good people through the door, but I didn't particularly want to be a venue owner. I don't know if you've ever set up a photography studio or a filming studio. Instead of spending your day photographing people and filming people, you end up spending your day maintaining the venue and making sure stuff's done, and you become a facilities owner. Right. It wasn't particularly where I wanted to go, even though it was a nice wee gig and it was a nice studio and a beautiful office block. It wasn't really where I wanted to go, and I didn't feel I was helping people enough. You know what I mean? I just felt like a venue owner. And I know people really struggle with, even understanding the basics. Time again, people will come to me not understanding the basics of why video works and how video works. And so many people will come to me saying, well, I made a video and it didn't work. And I was like, well, what was the plan? What was the aim? What were you wanting to do? And they were like, oh, just making a video because someone said I should.
Oh,
And so I was like, right, someone needs to educate these people on
Yeah.
why they're creating, because it isn't going to work. And you know, as an industry, as content creators, we are going to lose our audience because people are like, well, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, mate. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
does work. You need to have a plan. It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym 3 days a week, you aren't going to get fit because you need a plan. You need to know which machines to go on, what order to go on, how long to be there, what you want the end goal in 30 days to be. And it's exactly the same with video. You need to know what the end result is. Are you doing video to make sales? Are you doing it to just brand awareness? Are you doing it for a particular sector? What do your audience even want to hear? You know, if you don't know the basic answers to these questions, you're not ready to film yet. And that is why I moved Vlogify into more of the training side. So at least we're giving people the power to make better videos and generate more income.
Oh, I know this old saying came from the army, I believe, is the 5 Ps.
Uh-huh.
Piss poor preparation prevents progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, look, that's totally cool, man. So would you also use some sort of like tell people to create like a persona or like some sort of your ideal audience and try to aim for them? Is this what you try to do as well?
Yeah. So there should be a persona for your audience, and also potentially as the mouthpiece of your company, you should be creating potentially a persona for yourself. Some people find it a lot easier to talk to an audience when they have a character for themselves. So we've got a famous presenter here in the UK and Scotland, Jeremy Clarkson, and he says when he goes on to Top Gear or Grand Tour, it isn't him on camera, it is Jeremy Clarkson, the presenter, on camera.
Yes.
And so it makes it much easier for him to come out with these wild, bold statements because it's a character talking. And so as a presenter, that's something that I sometimes urge my presenters to do, if that's what they feel more comfortable doing. But also we should have at least an idea of who it is we're talking to.
Yeah.
I was always taught when I first started out back in the day that a video for everybody is a video for nobody. So if you're talking to everyone, you'll be so general that no one will care. It's like, so you've got to have an idea. You know, we're not, for most of us, for most businesses who are creating content, we are not creating content for entertainment. We're not going down the Netflix route where we're wanting people to watch for 10, 20 hours a day and what have you. We're wanting to grab people from what they're doing and say, hey, you go check out our website and sign for this thing or whatever, something like that, right? So we need to make sure that we are very specific at who we talk to. We're kind of more narrow casting or nano casting, speaking to a small group or speaking to individuals or even 1 or 2 people in our videos. And so we need to know who it is we're speaking to. So for example, I know that for my audience at Vlogify, digital nomads is a great audience, kind of 30 to 40-year-olds who are digitally savvy enough, but obviously are not overly savvy digitally. I find that heads of video, marketing managers consume my content. So now it's much easier for me to start creating content, start imagining these people. So I know people who do those roles, and I imagine that I am speaking to those kind of people. So, you know, they understand a little bit about the jargon. So my videos contain a little bit about the jargon, and anything to a certain higher level, I will then go and explain. It just makes sense. You know, if for example, you have a golf club, a golf range, a golf club, and you are talking in a way to teenagers on Twitter, when actually you should be talking to 60-year-olds on Facebook or what have you, there's a very different kind of dynamic, a different way of speaking. There's a different type of video you make for each audience. And so if you don't understand who your audience is, you are potentially making the wrong video for the wrong people.
Absolutely. Yes. And we also give, so on a more personal question on your journey so far, have you had any failures, and what were the lessons learned from them?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the thing with business is failure happens constantly, success happens once in a while, you know, and you've got to capitalize on success and you've got to learn from failures. And so even though the in-person studio was relatively good, it was a failure in the fact that I didn't enjoy doing it. And so I then quickly learned that actually for a business to be successful, for me, I have to have some love for it. I have to have some enjoyment for it. So that was a huge one. And I make sure that the people who I hire enjoy training and social interaction and working online. Again, I am a digital nomad at heart. I like traveling the world. I like being able to travel the world. And therefore having a fixed venue, for me, I felt very constricting. So that's why I moved Vlogify into a fully 100% digital only domain. And I hire people who like to work in a digital only domain, and we have clients who love to work within a digital only domain. And so that's, that has worked for me, that's worked for the business, and it works for my clients as well, which is fantastic. But I think I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have been able to really commit to that unless I had tried and failed the in-person thing. I mean, there's failure every single day and there's success every single day. I remember there's a saying, success isn't bought, it's rented, and the rent is due every day.
Yeah.
And so we have to keep going at it. And, every day we get little wins and we remember those little wins and we can build on them. And every time we get a little failure or a little not better success, it's great because we can learn from it and it's right. We'll not do that again, or we'll do that different next.
Absolutely. And what's driving your curiosity right now?
Here, I am a natural question asker, which is probably why I'm not particularly good at being a member of staff. I like to ask questions. I like to engage with people. I like to find out what is new, what is hot. And the beauty of kind of the sector we're in at the moment, kind of the digital services, the digital marketing, the content creation, is that it is such a fast growing sector. There's so much. Like, I do this full time, my team do this full time, and there's still so much for us to learn. There's still so many new things happening. Every week people are creating new cameras and new green screen ways of sending packages and videos and stuff. There's every single day there's something new coming out, and that is what I like about the sector. There's always something to learn. I don't think I would enjoy too much. And I know my team, I like to get people who are interested in tech. I like tech geeks. I like people who press buttons and go, what does that do? I haven't seen that.
And finally, is there anything I didn't ask but should?
We got through quite a bit. So basically, to sum up, we are needing to be creating content regularly. So vlogging is the best way to start with content. It is so easy to start vlogging. We get the phone out, we can film it, edit it, distribute it. The best of that content we can then turn into YouTube videos. We can edit together for a longer YouTube video, scrape the sound off, turn that into a podcast, get the transcription, turn that into blogs, and that starts working for your search engine optimization. And then from there, we can then start filtering people on to lead magnets to get email addresses. We then can create some more evergreen content, advertorial content, some adverts, and then start retargeting people with, social media adverts.
Yeah.
To start pushing people towards buying. But at the end of the day, it is a process. One video isn't going to do everything. So many people are like, well, I made one video and it didn't work. And it's like, well, yeah, but what were the next steps? It's like going to someone's house and saying, buy this.
Yes.
They might in a couple of weeks' time, once you've explained it and you've had a 2 and 4. People will usually take seven touch points before they buy from you. So video is one touch point. What are the other 6? And it can be video, podcasts, blogs, direct messages, that kind of stuff, all mixed together. But the beauty of content is you can have all 7 touch points online, automated with all, and by the time you've had your one-to-one or your sales call, that may have actually been the first time you have personally contacted them, but they felt like they've got in touch with you 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, well, there you have it, folks. And Dom, thank you very much for coming on the show. And where can we find you? Right,
so LinkedIn is a good place to find me, Dom O'Neill, the vlogging guy. I'm also on Twitter at Vlogify Studios. So each month I do have a free 5-day challenge. If anyone wants to go on it, it's a Facebook 5-day challenge where we teach you the basics of vlogging. I can send you some links and what have you for that, but it's vlogify.net/video success.
Fantastic. And thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.